Oh, battlefield, battlefield, battlefield. How I used to love you. And now I hope I can love you again. I mean, my favorite ones in release order is probably Battlefield 2142, Bad Company 2, and then Battlefield 3. I love these games to death. I got Battlefield 2 here, you know. I don't need to prove it to you. I love these games to death. I even have Battlefield 1, okay? You know, Battlefield 4 had a rough start, but it really ended up being something amazing by the end. But the foundation was still solid. It's just they had to patch out bugs and other things like that, right? Then Battlefield 1 comes along. You play it for 10 hours, it's fun. But then you realize something feels off, doesn't it? It's basically World War I skin, but it plays like a World War II shooter because it's like no... If you've studied World War I history, you know how inaccurate the game kinda is, honestly, which took away from it for me for a little bit, but mostly the gameplay mechanics. You know, one of the greatest things in Battlefield was how you could just be so accurate if you really controlled your spread of your gun. So, you know, instead of going all over the place, like in Call of Duty, you know, you would control that by going you know, type vibes, right? Like, you know? And that would control where your bullets went. In Battlefield 1, that changed. In Battlefield 1, your recoil could be RNG in the sense of your bullets could sway to random locations. I'm not even joking about this bullshit. That was a thing. That was an actual thing. And that was one of the things amongst many in Battlefield 1 that Battlefield players did not like about that game. Now granted, Battlefield 5, the biggest decline in Battlefield in a while, I don't think had many of the problems that Battlefield 1 had, but somehow it's just worse to play. The movement feels off. It feels like a Flash game to me. I know that sounds almost dramatic, but when I went into Battlefield 5 after having not played it since the beta, and I was playing a lot of Battlefield 4 before playing Battlefield 5 again, the movement felt like it was from like the early 2000s. I mean, what the hell? I felt like I was a floating head. I don't get it. I don't get that amount of degradation in the gameplay. Beyond that, the TTK felt off. The guns felt floaty. I mean, red dot sights in World War II? That can fly in Call of Duty, but that's just not a thing that you do in Battlefield. It's just not a thing that you do in Battlefield. You know, have some normal traditional scopes and sights in a World War II shooter if it's going to be a Battlefield shooter, okay? And this isn't even covering the launch controversies, you know? Controversies, I don't know how to say it. Listen, okay, I have no problem if they implemented a female character, woman all over World War II in the game. That would have been fine by me. It's just the way they did it. Cybernetic arm, British soldier, which never happened. It just didn't. You know what would have been better if that launch trailer was Russian female sniper, or perhaps French resistance soldier that happens to be a woman. It could, you know, I would have been fine with the whole pro-woman thing that they were doing in the game. Do it, just make sure it makes sense in history. And they were trying to act like female soldiers were a thing in the British military. They weren't a thing. They just weren't. And if they try to portray it as, yes, this is alternate history, then fine, that would have been totally cool. But they were trying to say, you don't know your history well enough, you're not educated well enough for this game, you just hate women. And it's like, no, if you would open that trailer with a more gritty feel, say it was, again, a female Russian sniper sat up in a crow's nest, taking out tons of soldiers.
Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang, Gucci gang.
If that was the kind of like cinematic trailer, and then it cuts to a French female resistance fighter, you know, on the streets of Paris, stealthily taking out German soldiers, that would have been awesome. If that's all the trailer was, and it featured predominantly women in fighting roles, but in ways that made historical sense, I wouldn't have given two shits. That would have been awesome. And it just busted my balls. I didn't like the historical inaccuracies that they were trying to say weren't historical inaccuracies. I mean, yes, there are some neckbeards who didn't want female soldiers at all, but that isn't me. I would have been fine with female soldiers. You just have to do it in a way that makes sense in the historical context, like I've explained, okay? You don't add it in the British military, but you can add it where it makes sense, okay? That's all I'm asking. And if you're gonna add it where it doesn't make sense, then call it alternate history. Just call it alternate history. And that's clearly what you were going for in the launch trailer, wearing face paint and cybernetic arms and a cricket bat with barbed wire around it. I mean, just call it alternate history at that point. That's what it is. That's what it is. Like, seriously. And then the other ridiculous thing that happened recently with this whole health crisis thing is most games have been turning on double XP, right? When asked why Battlefield 5 wasn't doing that, what did they say? The tech isn't there. The tech isn't there? The tech was there. What? Pretty much all the old Battlefields had double XP tech in there. I remember Battlefield 4 and I could put on double XP, 200% XP boost on pretty much every day if I had them. What do you mean the tech isn't there for double XP? And yet you can buy XP boosts with microtransactions, but apparently the tech isn't there for double XP. Oh, what bullshit is that? Seriously, what bullshit is that? I mean, come the hell on. And is it just me? Is it just me, or do the characters in Battlefield 5, all the like custom soldiers and stuff, is it just me, or do they look like they have Down syndrome or something? Battlefield 5, Battlefield 1, you know, you go from Battlefield 4 and all the mistakes it corrected, you go to Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5 especially, and this franchise is just dead in the water now unless they do something drastic for the next one. I mean, and that's not personal opinion. Look at the numbers. This thing has, especially Battlefield 5, has steadily dropped and just dropped and dropped, and then it had a spike when the Pacific update came out, and then it's dropping and dropping and dropping and dropping again, especially after all this double XP BS. Battlefield used to be probably my favorite multiplayer FPS franchise ever. It was that perfect mix of a little more grounded than COD, but not as realistic as Arma. And well, where is it now? Somewhere I'd rather not be, honestly. It's an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment, from everything from the marketing to how the gameplay's regressed to all these bullshit answers about double XP and other things to try and get people to spend more real money on a game they already spent $60 for. It's ridiculous, and I just hope the next title's better. That's all I can say, because I want Battlefield to be amazing. Something I forgot while editing this, they got rid of Middle Eastern and South African servers. Now, I'm from South Africa, so that's a big deal to me. And they said there weren't enough people playing. Dude, there was about 2 full servers every night playing the South African servers, okay? And I can think back to the days when I played a lot of Battlefield 3, Bad Company 2, Battlefield 4 on South African servers. And there, on weekends, there could be up to 15 64-player servers full, okay? The fact that that's gone from 15 down to 2, that, number one, 2 servers being filled up should be enough to keep those servers going. And on top of that, like, the fact that it goes from 15 down to 2, that says a whole damn lot about where this franchise has gone. Anyway guys, that's been the video today. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you thought in the comments. I know this is a bit of a dated topic, but I read this thing over the weekend about like the double XP thing, and it was just, oh, there's another thing that DICE and Battlefield 5 is getting wrong. Let me just air all my annoyances at this franchise now, because I didn't do it before. So yeah, Discord link in the description, Twitch link in the description, and Twitter link in the description. And until next time, this has been Randy.